It's my pleasure to be with you today. In our previous 5-minute reflection, we briefly looked at how not to pray according to what the Word says. But before we can look at what prayer is, let's first uncover the topic of mountains so that it makes more sense when Jesus does talk about going into your closet. Since mountains are mentioned over 500 times in the Bible, there's got to be more to them than just being a geological structure. Sure, many times scripture is actually referring to an actual mountain, but the Bible also uses powerful symbolism and metaphors to explain spiritual concepts and truths. Mountains, in biblical symbolism, represent a governmental structure or an authority. So let's have a look at some of this in action. Consider the narrative that comes out of Matthew 17, verse 17 to 20. Some background about this before we get into the text is that Yeshua has just had an encounter on the Mount of Transfiguration with some of his disciples. He comes down that mountain and he's greeted by a man who says to him, "Would you please heal my son?" He is overtaken by seizures that throw him into the fire or into water. And the man goes on to say, "Your disciples couldn't cast the demon out." Yeshua speaks a word, and that boy is totally set free. But the disciples come to him a little bit later and they say to him, "Why couldn't we do it?" We see how Yeshua replies to them. Again, that context is Matthew 17, verse 20. It says, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you will say to this," what? "To this mountain, be moved from here to there, and it will move." So in the context of what Yeshua is saying, it's not a physical mountain. It is something more. There's a stronghold that's afflicting the boy, and this is referred to as a governmental system as opposed to God's kingdom purposes. It's opposing it. But Yeshua, who is the ultimate authority, he effortlessly topples this oppressive system because he has a far supreme governmental authority that sits over his life. We see another story referenced in Mark 5, and it's about a man who wandered among the tombs day and night, crying out, cutting himself. The word says that there was no chain that could bind him and no man that was strong enough to hold him down. And he was so fierce that the word says none could pass by this way. So there are also some governmental or some regional systems in the earth that are restricting kingdom purposes from being released in the earth. Is that somebody you? Somebody needs to take a hold of a higher authority to dismantle those territorial strongholds. A lesser system is always going to recognize a higher one, and it has to yield to it. We see this in Mark 5, verse 6. It says, "When he, the man who was possessed, saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and he fell on his knees in front of him." Again, Yeshua only speaks a word, and the demonic system connected to the name Legion, which showed how many demons were actually in this young man, that system topples. Now we know that Yeshua is fully man and he's fully God, but how did he maintain that authority here on the earth? The word says that he continually went, and I'm going to stress this word, he went into a mountain. And he did only what he saw his Father do. Now, that is written so many times in Scripture, it's not there by accident. But we are spirit beings, and we live in a body. So we have access to two realms at the same time. The authority that Yeshua walked in is not found in the realm of the natural or the physical world. And neither will it be found in us, in that natural or physical world, if we're functioning out of that realm. In fact, we have to learn how to ascend into another realm where the government is far superior, and we do what Yeshua said he did. We only do what we see our Father doing. We don't deal with lower governmental authority by warfare. I know that's what we've been used to as the church. Yeshua didn't model that for us. He literally spoke a word. We legislate and execute the agenda of heaven by developing our history in that mountain, in that realm, the mountain that he went into. We are supposed to go into that mountain as well. then when lesser governments see you, they will also have to fall on their knees and submit to the will of heaven, which you execute. Thank you so much for tuning into this Eternal Echoes segment on our YouTube channel. I'm Samantha Mahoney. If you've enjoyed what you've watched, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, stay inspired and keep shining your light. Shalom.